What's going on, you guys? It's Cody Steck. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. In this one, we're talking about where in the US is home building booming. All eyes are on Utah. This is a headline of a new article that just came out from KSL. I've done a ton of these article reviews, and I think they're actually pretty interesting because it gives us a good oversight as to what's going on not only in the nation, but here in Utah. I've had a ton of people reach out lately saying, hey, Cody, what's going on? Is the market going up? Is it down? What's exactly happening? And I've been sharing my thoughts with those people directly as well as here on the channel. So make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And with that said, let's jump into it. So as I mentioned, the title of this article is Where in the US is Home Building Booming? All eyes are on Utah. If we scroll down here, I've kind of highlighted these different points that I want to touch on, and then we're also going to take a look at this picture here because this is going to be relevant for us to look at as well. So this starts off by saying this is based on U.S. Census Bureau data. The Axios recently compiled a county-by-county national map of where housing units are growing the fastest across the U.S. While some geographically smaller counties in Texas boast some of the highest percentages, Utah is high on the national list too, but with a high concentration of rapidly growing counties statewide. So if we come over here to the map, let's actually take a look at this. Let's see if we can get this zoomed in a little bit bigger. Here we go. So you can see on this map here that there are pockets of houses being built kind of here in the south. Not a ton going on in the north, the northeast, not a ton going in on the west coast, but Utah here is seeing massive amounts of change in housing units. Now this is actually broken down by county, so you can see all the different counties here. A lot of the counties, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, are experiencing somewhere between 3 and 6.5% growth from July of 2020 to July of 2021. I can guarantee you the numbers, if you looked at it from 2021 to 2022, the numbers would be very similar here. So you can see that there's others. The highest one here is Rockwall County here in Texas. There's a couple areas here in Texas, and then there's a bunch in Florida and kind of along the southeast here. So Utah is seeing absolutely insane amounts of growth, and this map really reflects that. Coming back over here to the article, let's take a look at this and learn a little bit about what's happening in Utah. So right here, I want to mention in 2021, Utah's number of new housing units permitted far exceeded that of new households. For examples, marriages, divorces, students going to college, or net in-migration. 40,144 housing units compared to 26,689 new households according to the report. So there was over, that's roughly 14,000 housing units that were constructed above that new household number. So what is Utah's housing shortage now? After the record home building year of 2021, Utah's statewide cumulative housing shortage now stands at 31,000 compared to about 56,000 in 2017. So it's actually getting better. If we had the same number here, this is about a $14,000 housing units difference there. If we continued that for another, roughly 2 years, two and a quarter years at that same route, then, hopefully we'd be able to get the housing shortage under wraps and actually not have a housing shortage any longer. Now, this is actually one other point that I want to mention here. The housing shortage should not be interpreted as 31,000 homeless households, but rather as an indicator of a tight and unhealthy housing market characterized by very low vacancy rate and a growing share of households doubling up. Nevertheless, a housing shortage persists at a much lower level. Now, this is kind of interesting because they're basically saying, hey, this is an indicator that the market is tight and it's naturally in an unhealthy state at the moment because of the shortage. Now, I think that if we had an oversupply of housing, that would actually be really bad for the market. So that doesn't necessarily mean that it would be healthy. We need to be a little bit more in line than where we are in order for home prices to kind of stabilize and for us to see that long-term stability. If the number of homes exceeded the number of households, that'd put us in a really bad spot where you'd have a lot of vacancies and you'd have a lot of homes that sit on the market either for sale or for rent and don't really do anything. This would be the main ingredient for the housing market to actually go through a massive correction or a crash if this were to happen. Jumping back to the article here, what is driving Utah's housing boom? Utah, which has consistently ranked as one of the fastest growing states in the nation, has experienced rapid population growth for years and is especially known for its young population. As more and more young Utahns seek to start their own families or buy their own homes, that, along with an increase in out-of-state movers, is driving housing demand, and home builders have been responding in earnest. That's very true. Home builders have been going crazy trying to build as many units as they possibly can, but unfortunately they haven't been able to keep up, and a big part of that is because people are growing up here and actually staying here. I've actually made videos about this this in the past here on the channel. And a lot of those people are growing up here, but then never leaving. So that's causing a lot of people to stay here in Utah. And then you also have a lot of people moving in from out of state, which I've seen firsthand, helping a lot of you people make that move in from out of state, West Coast, East Coast, even internationally. And by the way, I love that. If you guys are thinking about making that move here, reach out to me, call, text, or email anytime. My information will be here on the screen as well as in the description box. I love hearing from you guys. Definitely reach out if you're thinking about making that move here. Even if you already live here and you want to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, I'd love to help you with that as well. Coming back to the article here, Utah's housing boom has mostly been driven by single-family home building. Single-family homes made up 17,528 units, or 44% of the share of all permits issued in 2021. This is a little bit interesting. It says it's mostly driven by that, but yet it's not even 50%. But okay, yeah, that makes sense. Next came apartments. Builders were issued 14,000 permits in 2021, making up 35% of all permits. And then condos and townhomes came in third place with 7,895 permits issued, which is just a 20% share. If we look at what cities are actually building homes the fastest, you can see here that Washington County is home to booming St. George near Popular Zion National Park, and they saw a 4.7% boost to its housing inventory from July 2020 to July 2021. Coming down here a little bit further, Tooele County, which is to the west of downtown Salt Lake, known for its rural neighborhoods and vast boundaries stretching all the way across Utah's West Desert, including across the Salt Flats, saw a 4% increase to its housing stock during this time. And then you've also got Utah County here as the second most populated county and home to BYU, as well as the state's tech quarter known as Silicon Slopes, which saw a 3.9% boost to its overall housing inventory in 2021. Almost 1/3 of all single-family home permits issued statewide were issued in Utah County, totaling 5,512 units. There's a ton of growth out there, and that's what it says here. 3 cities in Utah County, Eagle Mountain, Saratoga Springs, and Lehi, accounted for over 60% of all the permits issued in the county. And then the last one on this list here, I should have highlighted this, Salt Lake County, Utah's most populated county, fell behind both Utah and Washington counties into third place with 2,235 single-family permits. This is because it's not only expensive to build in Salt Lake County, but also just because there's not a ton of land left here in the county. How much is a home in Utah? In Salt Lake County, the median price of a new home has typically been 18% higher than that of an existing home, at least since 2005. But in the second quarter of 2022, Salt Lake County's median price of an existing home, $603,000, was 25% higher than the median price of a new home. This is really interesting. I think it's because a lot of those new homes are going in further away from the areas that are desirable. This comes down to the location. And I also think it's because if you look at what a home was on the market for in the second quarter of 2022, those existing homes are going to show very high prices, but the homes that are currently on the market that are new construction were, started 6 months ago, 12 months ago, maybe even 18 months ago, and have yet to be built and finished. And so they're showing a much lower price. So that's something that's important to kind of keep in mind. So why the switch? Location, location, location. Many new home developments are on the periphery, hence considerable distance from employment centers. Thus, the price gap is partly an indicator of the premium the home buyer is willing to absorb or pay for an existing home closer to employment centers, thus avoiding long commutes from far-flung new subdivisions. This is really important because I think this trend is actually going to continue. I think the cost of a median-priced home is going to continue to be less than what an existing home is, at least for Salt Lake County, and I think that gap could widen, as we go into the future, another 5, 10, 15 years. So with all that said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're thinking about making that move here to Salt Lake or to anywhere along the Wasatch Front, reach out to me, call, text, or email anytime. My information's on the screen and it'll be in the description box down below. I love hearing from you guys. I've heard from people all across the world and from right here in my own backyard saying, Cody, I'm moving there. I want to buy, I want to sell, I want to invest. I want to do all things real estate, and you're the guy I need to talk to. I want to be your trusted real estate resource. So please reach out to me. I cannot wait to hear from you and get to know your situation a little bit better. Also, before you go, consider sharing this video with a friend or a family member who might also be interested in Utah real estate. I'd really appreciate it. We'll catch you in the next one.